Welcome to the BrightWord Books Podcast, where stories illuminate hearts and authors share the wisdom behind their words. I'm your host, Chris Dabbs, and today we're honoured to welcome back for her third appearance a truly inspiring guest, Debra Lee Fader, an internationally awarded entertainer, beloved author, and devoted servant of God. Debra Lee's journey from the dazzling stages of Las Vegas to a life of faith and service is one of profound transformation. So in today's episode, we're going to dive into her remarkable story of resilience, her unwavering trust in divine purpose, and her message that it's never too late to start over, no matter your age, your past, or your pain. So stay with us as we explore the soul behind the spotlight and the strength behind the setbacks. There we go.
Hi, Chris.
Hey,
Thank you.
Debbie.
That's perfect.
So
I don't need to say anything else.
exactly, that's it. Buy the book. See you later. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Now,
Well, there's
okay.
an awful lot that went into the book. It took me, I thought I'd be able to write it in, 1 year. We were in COVID at the time, and that's what gave me the time to be able to actually sit down and put pen to paper and put a few words down. And it ended up taking me 3.5 years to finish this particular book. Now, mind you, there were actually two other books I was working on that were compilations at the time, but my own book was just causing me all sorts of issues, I guess you could say, trying to get all of that out and have it make sense.
Well,
So,
it's kind of like being a car mechanic. Your own car is a pile of rubbish, right?
right.
Because you spend all your time working on other people's cars. So that's
Yes,
always
and
the
you
way.
Yes, and you're not as emotionally probably you're emotionally involved in your own chapter, but you're not quite to the depth of the honesty that it takes to actually bare your soul and put words out there that hopefully will transform lives. And once I started to really get into it, then it was a lot of pouring out of emotion, feelings, and then also trying to have it make sense
Mm.
for for anybody to read. So it took a lot of work. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
happy with it now. I'm very happy with it. So the frustration and the and the pain didn't last too long. I'm hearing all sorts of good things about what I've written. So I hope that your viewers will be interested in my book as well. I don't know if you have a picture of the book. Did you want to see the book at all?
Yeah,
I've got a
sure. So if you've got that
copy.
there, that'd be great to see
Okay,
it now.
hopefully it won't be too.
It's looking good,
Here's
yeah.
the book.
And
That
that's
looks like
you.
that's me.
That's you. Yeah.
And it's called Walk by Faith with God as Your Compass. And a good friend of mine loved that. I'm sure you've heard of Jack Canfield before.
Think so, yeah.
Yes, he's a wonderful author, several millions of people reading his books. He wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. And he was one of the mentors on this book, and he loved the idea of God as your compass. So that meant something to him. So I knew I was on the right road at that point.
Well, no,
That
totally.
yeah.
Exactly. You've got that sort of feedback coming on and a mentor like that. That's great. No. So
Yes.
now that you've spoken about Walk by Faith a few times now, has your perspective on the book shifted at all?
Well, it's just I thought about this earlier.
Hmm.
It has in a certain way because I'm writing my true story of all of the things that I went through, what I'm still going through as a person with a lifetime disability now. And a lot of people, what I've found is a lot of people look at that cover and they look at the career that I've had and they might miss the point of view of what I had to go through. It took so much courage, much more courage and grit than it did the first time around when I had use of my limbs, use of my body to dance and to sing and to be on the stage and comedy and all of the things that I did. This story yes, it is a story of resilience, but I'd also say for me, it's a story of perseverance because I had to persevere and persevere through so many obstacles and going through them again and again. You tend to become a little hardened because you're saying the same thing maybe over and over again. And you just want to say, hey, read the book. Read the book so that you can see because it was fresh. It was, the wound was open. I was exposing my soul at that point. And at this point, I've come through that passage in my life. And I want to say, hey, I'm here. I'm here now. This is what I do now. It's kind of hard to regress back into those pages and make them fresh.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll have something happen where maybe I'll trip and I'll almost fall down, and then oh, believe me, I'll remember at that point what it takes to just keep on going when maybe you want to just sit down and say, okay, I'm done for the day. So
Well, exactly. It shows you how resilient you are then in that case. I
thank
mean,
you.
have you had readers getting back to you with feedback or stories that are similar to yours that have touched you or affirmed your purpose in writing this book?
Well, originally when I wrote the book, just so you know this, I was writing a book really for my family and my little grandchildren because I was thinking about them. What if I'm coming to the end of my life? What will they know about me? What will they remember about me if they haven't been exposed to the fun stuff that I used to do? So having the pictures and the costumes and all of the things that are in the book gives them a different kind of slant or perspective on their grandmother.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandma did quite a few things before she met Grandpa, didn't she? So it's just kind of fun. I want them to know. I guess it's kind of a validation at the same time of myself and what I've been through. But at this point, I don't need that validity, except that I am trying to get the book out there. So I need to live in those moments.
Yeah, exactly. You can go back to them. But I like the
Yes.
idea of leaving that message for your family, so they know what
Yeah.
grandma was like. And I think
Yes, that's what it was for. And then as I started writing, it became so much bigger than myself. It was, a message for all time about reading the Bible, cleaving towards the Lord and God, and not being afraid to show your commitment to your higher power, as we call it. So, and to open up and let the universe take care of you because of course God created that universe. So I feel well within the bounds of working on the positive ends of things and teaching people about resilience and that everything that they're doing is for a reason. Of course, I really believe that. I don't know what you would call that type of a person, but I believe in destiny. And I'm a dreamer, and I know that God is there for you. All you have to do is ask. So that's what the book is about, is just opening your heart and saying, Lord, I can't do this by myself. Let me lean onto you and start walking the path you want me to walk. And it's kind of hard at first when you're on that path because the path actually becomes more narrow.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that you go through, you will change. You may change as you're becoming this actually a better person than you had been prior. And sometimes you have to let old friends go, but you can bring them back with love and kindness later. But you might have to let some people go because they may not understand how important it is for you to get right within yourself.
Right.
And they call it righteousness.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Well,
So
that's
I'm kind of babbling on here, but that's okay.
no, 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 you're not. You're making complete sense because at the end
Thank
of the
you.
day, it's really difficult to push forward through the things that you've experienced and the life change that you've had, which obviously
Yeah.
we've talked about before in the series of interviews. And to try and do that alone, I think it must be really hard. And so, you and testament to you really that you've done this so well. So, I mean,
Thank you.
no, well, yeah.
But
Was there a mo-
it's I had God with me.
yeah,
That was the difference. And I remember when I actually was dying. All my organs had shut down. They didn't know what was wrong with me. I'm upstairs in the bedroom and I can hear my husband on the phone downstairs saying, I've got to get her in. Can you see her today? Can you help me? Just all the things that, your spouse will go through to try to make things easier. And I just remember all of a sudden I heard this voice that said, and it's not this big booming Deborah
yeah,
voice. It was just soft and quiet, and it said, Deborah, Deborah Lee, my child, to me, as I'm watching and feeling like I'm watching my body just slip away. And it said, you are going to have more courage than you've ever had in your life to get through this season of your life. And that's what saved me. And it is true. You, when you're able-bodied and you're able to, let's say, fulfill your dreams, and you fulfill them with a great deal of grit. I talk about grit in the book throughout it, but it's grit like you've never imagined when you can't do the things that you are used to doing and you have to find an alternate way to communicate or to move or to sit up or to whatever. Even speaking, you may not be able to speak for a while. That happened to me. I couldn't quite. It was like I had had a stroke,
yeah,
but it wasn't a stroke. They didn't know what it was. So I went through several years because nothing was showing up on MRIs or in my blood work, or it just was a such of a mystery. In fact, to the point where one doctor told my husband that I was making it up. Yeah. He says,
great.
don't even listen to her. He says, ignore her when
Oh,
she's going through this. She's looking for your attention. He said it in front of me
in front of you.
in the office. He said it in front of me, and I was just, and my husband was looking at him like, what? But he said, you'll believe me. He told him, take my advice. You'll sleep better at night. There's nothing wrong with your wife. She
Wow.
wants attention. That is the last thing I was looking for.
Yeah, right, right, right.
Just trying to be able to move a muscle. It was crazy.
Oh,
So eventually, through I don't want to spoil the story, but eventually we did find out that I have what is called primary progressive multiple sclerosis. Now, in the UK, you know what MS is, don't you?
sure. Yeah.
Multiple sclerosis. Yeah, I have a friend who actually didn't know what I was talking about, and she was a nurse, but she said MS. I've never heard of that. MS. And so then she started reading up on it, and she's retired now, but she was my dearest friend, actually from UK. We met when we performed. I actually performed on ships, and she was the nurse on the ships.
All right.
So we were real good friends. But she said, I don't know what this disease is, multiple sclerosis. If you want to talk to me about cancer or something like that, yeah, I can give you all sorts of help and tips with that. But MS, I what is it? So, but that was a few years back. That was probably back in 2013 when she found out I could possibly have MS, and that's when I finally was diagnosed in Minnesota at the Rochester Hospital and Clinic. It's well known all over the world, and they were the only ones that could actually figure out what was wrong with me. I was there for 2 weeks, went through several comprehensive testings, and finally they figured it out. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's it's
But yeah, but there was no, I keep butting in because I have so much to say, I guess.
yeah.
But, but there was, no, I guess I just don't have anybody to talk to all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but there was an issue where, with the type that I have, which is called primary progressive, there was no medication for it. So I suffered from the point of falling down. My first falling down and being paralyzed was in 2006 in Christmas. And then in 2013, they figured it out, but there wasn't anything they could do for me. Can you imagine? So I'm from 2013 till 2017. I was without any medication, just getting worse because it's primary progressive. You're getting worse and worse and worse, and nobody knows what to do. You just have all we can try to do is keep you comfy. So, and then finally, there was finally a medication, and it was approved by the FDA, but I was one of the first guinea pigs to use it, and it's made a great difference in my life. I still can't walk completely. I have to use a walk aid, such as a walker or a cane. And sometimes I'm very tired and I'll have to succumb to sitting in a wheelchair and let somebody push me around, but I try not to. I want to keep moving.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that again, that's laudable. It's amazing that you've done that. I mean, but so, through all of this, and for all these years where you didn't have any medication, you've had your life basically changed overnight. As I know that you're not obviously the only person to go through a life change like that, but for you, you're the only person that's gone through that, right? And it's
Well,
affected.
you're the only person in your own skin to
Right,
feel it, to your
exactly.
bones, your muscles, and why can't you shut your eyes or, all the crazy stuff that can happen when you're paralyzed.
Right.
So, yeah, and you're just stuck in this, it's like a little prison.
Mm.
So, yeah. So you do kind of tend to think me for a while, but I find it's better to think about others and try to do things for other people.
Right.
So that's what gives me satisfaction these
No, that
days.
makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
it, I don't know how you've done this, but is this how you kept your spiritual compass and focus, there?
Yeah.
Because obviously, with all of these distractions and all of that going on to you, the last thing, there must have been times, or tell me that there hasn't been, where you really must have looked at your spiritual beliefs and thought, what is going on? Or when you were in hospital, did that voice really just actually compound your belief and make it safe for you to think of the future?
Right. Well, that was it. You have to have courage. Courage. Courage was what was in my brain. It was just seared into my mind, really. Courage. So, and courage can come in many forms. I'll tell you the hardest thing for someone like me that's used to kind of a hard charging, I'll take care of this and I can get this done, and you know, to have to depend on another person to help you across the street or help you in any way, let me just take your arm and we'll walk down the block together, that kind of thing. That was so difficult to actually relinquish my own free will to allow others to make an effect for me.
I
And they've
think that
happened many times.
Yeah, that would be difficult for me. I mean, like
Yeah.
helping in and out of the car, I guess, things like that. Which,
Yes.
yeah, and then of course that's part of the journey that you've gone through, I guess, to allow
Yes.
yourself to be helped like that. Incredible.
Yes, and you have to you really learn to appreciate the kindness of others because it was something you maybe never needed to worry about
Yeah,
before,
yeah.
you know.
Especially as a
So,
journalist, right, and a reporter, you've seen the other side of life, so
yeah,
you wouldn't have
yes.
seen the nice side so often.
Right, right. And you're dealing with people who are victims of it could be crimes, it could be weather problems, it could be who knows, a financial scam. Just think of all the different things that we report on in the news and so you learn respect. I'll tell you, you learn respect for the victim when you have to go through. I don't feel victimized. Believe me, I don't. I'm not. I was so shocked, for instance, when that doctor told my husband she's making this up. She has a victim mentality. No, no, that was not the case. But you do learn that sometimes you need to relinquish and say, okay, I am weak. I'm a little weaker than I'd like to be. So yes, help me. And people, what you find out is when someone helps you, they feel better too.
Exactly.
So it's a reciprocity. You give, you receive, and you give and you receive. So, but being on the receiving end, it's a hard thing to agree with when you're used to being the other person, the other one that is the strong person. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
a
the
tough
giver,
deal.
as it were. Oh, well, I can only imagine. Obviously, I mean, it's just incredible. So, did you sort of revisit your faith on a daily basis then to try and get
Yes.
through this?
Yes, I have to every day. I mean, affirmations are very important to me. Reading passages from the Bible are very important to me. Praying. There's several apps on the phone that you can go ahead and learn and have a little scripture every day. A little dose of spiritual medicine goes a long way for most people. So you can find those things if you don't have a Bible in front of you or a book of faith in front of you. I find myself I read not only Bibles but I read other faiths books that are from other faiths. I think theology is a very important thing to explore. And I may be a Christian, but I want to understand other religions as well. So reading or looking at the benefits of another person's point of view with spirituality, I think is really important.
Yeah, yeah, I see. I agree actually with that. That's something I thought for a while. If we understood more about other people's religions, we'd be more tolerant of other people, I think.
Yes.
And that was
Yeah.
something actually when I was at school that they taught.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what they said. So we spent most of our time. We had what we called religious education
Oh, really?
lessons. Yeah, I suppose,
That's fantastic.
yeah,
Was
quite.
it a public school?
It was, yeah, yeah.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
so yeah, and I presume that they still have either RE as we call it or RS,
Uh-huh.
religious studies. But yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
basically theology and
Uh-huh.
ethics. So it's about that sort of thing, really. But so
Ethics.
understanding the other point of view, right, or other points of view, I think is really important.
Yes. Well,
So
when I went to school, those things were not being studied. I think probably in this day and age, and the way the world is, our world with all the internet and at a push of a button, we can see what's going on the other side of the world,
yeah,
and talk to people. You've got Facebook, you've got name all these different ways that people communicate. There's really no excuse not to try to learn about another person's point of view. But when it gets right down to it, what we're all humanity, we all just want and need love.
Yeah.
We need love. And we need to, I believe, from my point of view, with God, to worship. We're partially a spiritual human being. We have reason and we have motor skills and we have all these things, but we also have a spiritual side. So it's important to develop that and then listen to other people.
Yeah.
Listen as well as speak our own mind about our religion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Exactly. Not just this is my way or the highway, right? So,
Right,
exactly.
right.
So you've
Yeah.
already mentioned how this world is getting increasingly sort of complicated and uncertain.
Mhm.
Look at the way we're talking. We're thousands of miles away from each other, and yet
Would
we're.
you believe that?
I know
Isn't that amazing?
it is, and it's just amazing. No lag, nothing,
Mhm.
and it's working out really well. So in this world, technological, it's just uncertain at the moment. All of this stuff is going on. How do you think the concept of walking by faith is more relevant than ever?
Well, for most people, well, for me, it is a part of my daily life because each step I take is a walk by faith. It truly is. Um, for most people, it gets back down to walking, knowing that there's a destiny out there for each of us. We've all been given skills. We've all been given different gifts. Give yourself a moment to try to develop that gift that you have that's unique because it was given to you by the universe. It makes you different. We're all different. No fingerprints are alike. No hair strands are alike. You can go on and on. We're completely unique from each other, but we are a common bond as being humans, so we're part of the whole human experience and humanity. But it's up to us to express the differences between what our gifts are, because you never know how your gift is going to help somebody else.
Oh, I don't know.
So that's what it gets down to is the gift of reciprocity again, helping another person get outside of yourself, show your skills, help somebody else have a better day.
Oh, that's
So that's what walking by faith is for me. And it's also a stretch into being kind. So we never know what somebody else is going through on a daily basis. And, we're all coming from different environments, home environments, and we don't know if someone has had a bad time. So we need to try to show the positive sides rather than the negative sides. And it's easier. It's so much easier to be negative. But once you make that decision to be positive, then it becomes part of who you are. And then all these opportunities just start coming your way. So it's really worth exploring that. It's a gift. It's a gift, and you're given a gift back that's a much larger gift than you're giving out. So
well.
that's my feeling.
I think, yeah, help someone else. You said it earlier on. Help someone else to have a good day, right? And
Yes.
that comes back in spades, doesn't it? Really, to
It does. It truly does. And then people are, if you're kind to somebody else, they're kind to you. So that's what walking by faith is for me. Just of course, for me it's of course my belief in God, the faith, but the destiny. The destiny. We all have a destiny to fulfill. Let's do it.
no, that makes sense.
Let's
So,
yeah.
is there a part of the book that readers often overlook, or you feel they overlook, but you believe holds a really powerful truth that you want people to sort of like hone in on and to understand?
Well, the one thing that I've noticed is people tend to look at the face value. Oh, nice picture on the front. And then there's pictures of my career throughout the book too. And I had been a mayor. So, I mean, you see a lot of components of success
Right.
in the book without just by glancing at it. But if you, without reading it, you'd think, oh, this person's had such a charmed life. I don't know what to aspire to here. That's their thing. But this is about my struggle as well, having the grit and the tenacity to move past the success and dig back down and start over. I had to start over 3 times because I had left my career in Los Angeles. I decided I wanted to go home. I wanted to be with my family. I wanted to experience more to do with life and be a real person. And that's when I met my husband and I went into broadcasting and I changed. I was able to use my voice instead of singing on a stage every night and being away from people that I loved. I was able to be in the same town and use my skills in a different way, such as being a broadcaster on radio or doing some hosting on television, that kind of thing. And I could go home at night and have a real full, satisfying life. And I was a worship director too. So, and that was back when I could still sing, still dance, still walk, still praise the Lord without any trouble. And then, like I said, back in 2006, it all disappeared. And I had to learn to walk again. And it took years. It took years and many setbacks. So that's the part of the book that I want people to actually enjoy the fun stuff,
Mm.
but then understand there's a lot of tenacity and grit and courage again in the rest of it and what it took to reestablish myself as a completely different animal
Yeah,
than I had been.
exactly.
So, and because there might be somebody out there that went through God forbid, a horrible car accident or a disfigurement, or let's just whatever, there are sometimes we're given lemons and then we have to try to make lemonade. And that's what happened to me. I was given a bunch of lemons and I could have wallowed in the lemons,
Yep.
but I didn't. I decided I'm going to make lemonade and make the best of the life that I still have. And now my life is so completely full
Right.
in different ways than I would have ever expected my life to be. So, I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for the new friends I have, and I've been able to bring the old friends back in because they realize well, she's changed quite a bit, but she's still the same old girl,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it takes an awful lot. I did find some thoughts I wanted to bring up. That are in here. Well, one thing that someone said to me that I was absolutely humbled about, and this was in a review. The review isn't on Amazon, but it was sent to me personally. They said, your book reminds me of Anne Frank.
That
Can you
sounds
imagine?
wow.
And I'm going, it does?
Yeah, right.
Where? You know, I don't see the correlation except that she was she just continued to believe in the beauty of the human spirit. And I do that. I try to believe in the human spirit. And I would like to know more from the person that sent me that letter, how they were making that comparison. But yeah, that really touched me. But
Yeah.
there's a couple of things you might be interested in when you're trying to change. I have a whole section on don't camp out in the past.
Right.
So, and what it means is forget, don't obsess over, mull over and over again in the past.
Mm.
Stop dwelling on what happened, right? Um, Plan, process, and proceed. The other thing is focus, fight, and finish, which we are doing right now. We're focusing on the better things.
Yeah,
We're fighting to get through it, and we are going to finish strong.
absolutely.
And the other thing I've already mentioned that for me, I talk about words of affirmation, acts of service. You have to get yourself out there. Volunteer. I believe in volunteering. Let's say you don't have a job at the moment. Get out there and volunteer. Do something outside of yourself.
Right.
Try something new. You'd be surprised. You might end up getting a job out of it. It happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then gift giving, we talked about that. Gift giving and receiving, that's a fun thing. And then quality time, to have quality time. And it wasn't good during COVID. We couldn't do half these things. Another thing I talk about is having a, physical touch
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
But during that time period, and it may happen again, you may just have to rely on your words and your mouth, your voice, your tongue is actually a rudder. It says so in the Bible. It's a rudder. So and when you think about that your tongue steers everything. All the words you say, all the things that you do, you say your will, I'm going to do this, all of that matters. So if you say something that's not very nice to somebody, you don't know how that might be affecting that person.
No, it's a good point. I like that actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
your tongue
rudder.
is a rudder. It says so right in the Bible. And the first
Yeah.
time I heard that, I went, "What?" But we're
Wow.
like a little ship, we're
Yeah.
moving along, and the rudder will steer us one way or the other.
That's true.
So,
That's true. You don't
yeah,
know what you say, what effect that's going to have on your life or anything else. That's very true. So that's
yeah.
okay. Cool. Well, we are running out of time, Debra Lee. So
Aren't you glad?
no, no,
No,
no, no.
I'm just being silly.
Yeah, we could talk for
Yeah,
hours.
because yes, I apologize for losing my ability to speak.
No
But
one's going to know about it. It's going to be edited. Don't worry.
all right.
Okay, so basically,
Okay.
last question then. What
Okay.
final encouragement would you like to leave with listeners who, in I guess, a season of waiting or doubt or transition in their faith or something?
Oh, I had that in my mind. Uh, I think the idea is just to look within yourself and say, what can I do to help somebody else today? What can I do to make somebody else's load lighter or their day a little brighter, right?
Oh, nice.
And if you can do that and do it seriously, I mean, do it honestly. It's not a tongue-in-cheek thing. It's really, I want to make a difference today, making a difference. That is going to set your day apart and and give you something else to focus on besides just yourself.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's an important thing
Oh, I love
to do.
that. Yeah, that's a nice thing. I'm going to take that on board. I'm going to try and
Okay.
do one nice thing a day, I think, and
Yeah.
see how much. Mind you, I do so many nice things, even though my wife would disagree. So
Yeah. Well, you can write a little list and go,
yeah,
okay, I did that one today.
yeah, that's
I'm
true. That's
going to do
true.
this tomorrow. Or,
Well,
it's practicing kindness,
yeah,
practicing.
yeah, yeah. And I
So,
think it's all about, treating people how you want to be treated, that sort of thing. So no, I'm going to take that away myself. Thank you very much for that. And
well, you're
listen,
welcome.
thank you as well for joining us on the BrightWord Books podcast. So a
Thank
heartfelt
you.
thank you from me, from our
Okay.
listeners, to you, Debra Lee Christian Fader, for once
Thank you.
again. Yeah, no,
Thank you so
not a
much.
problem. Thanks for gracing us again with your powerful voice and your unshakable faith. It's quite amazing. Your journey reminds us that even when life takes a turn that we never expected, right? There's always a way
Right.
back with purpose and with courage and with God as our guide. So, if Deborah Lee's story moved you, be sure to grab a copy of her book on Amazon and share this episode. And there it is. Share this episode with someone who needs a little hope today. And don't forget that little bit of kindness to someone tomorrow. All right. So, until next time, keep reading, keep believing, and keep shining your light. Deborah Lee, it's been wonderful to meet you. I've enjoyed this so much. I hope to talk to you again soon. Take care. Thank you for joining us.
God bless.
And
Bye-bye.
to you as well. Take care.
Take care.